of legislation.
The Colchester Boroughs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It was a privilege to be able to sit on the Justice and Electoral Committee, which considered this bill, and it does do a number of things which enhances the protection of young people who have previously witnessed or been in a situation of family violence. And family violence in our country, of course, has got some... we have a disgraceful record in respect of family violence. Just in response to some matters raised by the previous speaker, and to confirm that the supplementary order paper as filed under the name of Lynn Pillay is in effect an opt-out clause rather than an opt-in clause or opt-in situation as it applies within the bill as it is before the House at the moment. And the committee at the time, or the majority of the committee at the time, felt that as somebody can leave home at the age of 16 and live where they like at the age of 16 under New Zealand law and be independent at that age, and many do tend to leave home at that time, then to extend the opt. They are making decisions for themselves at that time, whether they are staying at home or whether they are moving away from home. They are making decisions as to the relationships they want to have and relationships they want to keep, those they want to change and the nature they want to change. And so we felt that it was fitting then for the continuation of a protection order to be an opt-out situation, if a person moved away from home, for it to be an opt-in situation. In other words, the 17-year-old would then have to make a decision whether or not they wanted to continue within the protection of that protection order, and it was a relatively simple matter for them to be able to do that. And if they needed assistance to do that by way of legal aid, then that would be something that they would be able to do. In respect of the supplementary order paper in respect of Jacinda Ardern, which seeks to extend the protection to 18 years from 17 years, I have to say that really it's a philosophical matter between the two parties, Labor and National. In the previous term of government, the Labor Party supported 18 years, and in a number of pieces of legislation they sought to extend the age of a young person to 18, or a child in some cases to 18. The incoming National Government disagreed with that, and so in their protection legislation and their Children, Young Persons and Their Families Act amendment legislation, for instance, they kept it at 17. And so there are some inconsistencies there, but again the point is made that in this country a young person can leave home at 16, make their own decisions as to where they are. By law they can choose where they live, and as most of our legislation, for instance our criminal law legislation, means that a young person gets into the adult jurisdiction when they turn 17, it was decided that in this case we would stick with 17. We recognise that it is contrary to UNCROC, but at the same time a number of the treaties that we have signed and the conventions that we've signed internationally, New Zealand continues to act in deference to its own autonomy as a nation and sovereignty, and acts out and continues outside those conventions, and have under both governments.
Call the Honourable